What's up, Rockstars? Today is a very cool day because today I get to actually share with you guys a new series. So I'll do the intro and kind of what this video is all about in just a moment, but let's go ahead and roll that logo. As always, before we jump into everything, I want to have a quick thank you to my YouTube members and patrons. It is through their honestly amazing support that I'm able to stay independent and still bring you a ton of coverage. That's because unlike the other channels that take money to review and give them your opinion through their wallet, I give you my opinion through my heart, and I do not accept money from any of these companies. So when I review a game, you know it's because I honestly like it or dislike what I say about it. So if you appreciate that level of honesty and that kind of independence from the game system and the game industry, and you can support, there are links to both of those down below, and I greatly appreciate it. If not, though, that's fine too. There's obviously a like, a subscribe, even a comment saying that you appreciated this video helps the channel a lot, and I personally appreciate it a ton. So thank you so much for all of those as well. So jumping right into it, let's go ahead and discuss this video. Now I want to pause the video real quick just to point out that unless you have an ad blocker or YouTube Premium, you might have noticed that there are no normal ads in this video, and that is thanks to my sponsor, INTOTHEAM. They are a merchandise company that sells shirts just like this. I've been trying them out. I'm going to let you know a little bit about them and how you can save some money on them. Now, one of the cool things about the company itself is that they also do kind of like a tea club where you just kind of pay monthly and get a cool shirt, and you can also get one for free. So you can save some money and get one for free if you follow the link down below. But for now, let me just tell you a little bit about them. Alright, so this is the shirt. I've now worn this a couple times. I've washed it. This is after washing. This is after wearing it. And I must say, I'm still impressed with the color. The color didn't get any worse at all. And it's seriously it still feels good. There's no cracks or anything like that. I was able to wash it pretty normal. Everything's all fine there. Just follow instructions. It's got this nice tag here, and it just in general looks good. It's kind of nice and fitting around the arms. It's not super loose where you kind of get that little flab there, which is kind of weird. It goes down to a good length. I'm happy about that. Oftentimes there's shirts that go down longer, or worse, shirts that go down not as much, right? And so this is good because you can lift your arms up, you can do whatever you need to do, you can move around, and it's just super comfortable. Now, I only sell premium shirts on my merch site because I love premium stuff. I love stuff that feels good. I'm an adult now. I can spend my money on my own clothes, and so I want to wear stuff that's comfortable and cool. And I think this matches both, to the point where everybody that's seen this shirt I've had many comments, and everybody's like, I want that. Where'd you get that? That looks super cool. They especially appreciate the color. Seriously, this color is insane. The print's really good, and I've just been impressed with it. I actually really, really like these. They're nice. Now, I'm no model, right? But I am real, and I'm just telling you, this is a cool shirt, and I really appreciate it. Now, the other thing that was super cool about these is how cheap they are. A lot of times you go to these sites that, sell these kind of really nice shirts, and, the designs look cool, but they're super expensive, or they ruin after a wash. That's why I wanted to make sure I washed these and wore these and used these before I even talked to you about them. And they are normal price. They're really good. Actually, there's a sale going on now. So if you need anything and if you think these are interesting, there is a link down below in the description. Go ahead and click that. Save yourself some money. I got a discount code for you guys to use, and seriously, it's totally worth it. Alright, so here's another one of the shirts. Just want to show off a few that I have, just to show that the fit is pretty uniform. This one's pretty cool. It does glow in the dark. I did test it. It is glow in the dark, and it is super cool. It's not something that's used super often, but when it is, everybody notices it. It still keeps the image, by the way. It's just really, really coolly designed. This was my daughter's favorite shirt, actually. She totally wants this. She loves space, wants to go to NASA when she grows up. And so the whole, the sign and everything, how he's leaning into it, and just, the slashed stars on it are just super cool. So I really like this. And this one is just, because it has less on it, right? This one is just my comfort shirt. I actually really like this. Wore this on Saturday because I was like, oh my gosh, it's Saturday. I'm off of work. I'm wearing this. I literally sought out this. I made sure my wife had this washed so that I could wear it because that's what I wanted to wear. Super happy about it. And again, I love just the fit of it. I really do. You guys know I don't BS you at all. And this is just comfy. There's not much else to it. It's cool. It's comfy. It's cheap. It's all you need, right? Alright, here's the final shirt that I have to show off to you guys. This is actually my favorite design, just because video games, space guy, space, what's not to love? I like it. I like that they put the logo on them. I thought that was pretty cool. And just the whole arcade playing Space Invaders in space, in a spacesuit. Just a cool design. Still colorful. Glow in the dark too. That's cool. It's nerdy, but whatever. I like it. And again, they all feel the same. Like, they're all just super comfortable. Love the black, a little slimming, that's always nice, but I think it looks good, and it makes all the colors really pop. And, like, again, the glow-in-the-dark is super cool about it, because you can see exactly what's going on, and I think it just looks cool, because all you see is, like, the space, and you see him and all that, but it's, like, just, like, really popping out. And also, I wanted to say that the logo in the back glows in the dark as well. Now, the only other cool thing that I really wanted to mention was the tags here. All the tags are actually stickers. So I went ahead and peeled this and put it back on just to make sure, but there's the even peel right there. And so you can actually, and they're all unique, at least the 3 I got. So they change this often. You get some cool little stickers if you want. It's just a nice little touch. Again, there's a lot of nice little touches like that. But as far as the fits go, and I don't know what it is necessarily, but for a lot of my shirts, like, they crinkle up when I raise up. And this, as you can see, it really doesn't. It like distributes it. It kind of fits really nice. I'm not like adjusting my shirt all the time, though. You can do whatever you want, I guess. But I don't know. They've just been comfortable. They're comfortable to sit in, wear, kind of do whatever it is you want to do. I like them. Alright, so I've scooted up, and that means that we're about to dive into some stuff that I'm looking at on the screen, which I'll show you guys here shortly. What I wanted to really just quickly say, because this is the first video I'm doing this is actually part 2 of a 2-part series, but I haven't done part 1 yet. Let me go ahead and explain that. So, I had an idea where I've started kind of showing what I'm backing when I'm doing my Kickstarter news videos, so if I happen to be on the site, you'll see, hey, I backed this, or hey, I didn't. But I don't get into necessarily why, and I don't necessarily get into what it is I backed and didn't back. And I think that would be kind of something nice maybe for you guys to see. Not so much because you can, I don't necessarily care if you agree or disagree with my decisions, but I think sharing what I'm looking at and why I make those decisions and kind of what I'm looking at here can have you guys either better understand my reasoning or perhaps think about those things yourself. So hopefully that's kind of helpful. Now, the reason it's a 2-parter is because I'm going to be doing my December video here very, very soon, at the end of this week, right? So right before December, you'll have a December Kickstarter video where you see everything that I know about that's interesting that's coming out in December. Now, by the way, if you know of something, comment below. Seriously, pause the video right now, comment below, let everybody know, not just me, and then if I think it's cool, I'll actually include it in my next video. So it's a good way to kind of, if you got a pet one that you think looks cool and is awesome, go ahead and let me know about it. And if I don't already know about it, I might just take a look and include it. But anyway, suffice it to say, after the monthly video, the next Tuesday video, what I want to do is my projections for the month. In other words, what do I think I will back? And I can kind of talk about like, oh, this looks cool and this looks awesome, and I've been looking forward to this all year, and I think this one will be kind of cheap, but also like a really tight game, or whatever it might be. I'll kind of make these projections, and then even kind of maybe even guess like, oh, how much it'll all be, kind of thing. And then the video before, so like this one, the Tuesday before my monthly video for the next month, I'll look back and see, okay, here's what I actually did. And I think once I do both, I'll actually even look back at like what I projected and then kind of compare and contrast, like, oh, this game did so many add-ons, or way more than I thought, or you know what, I thought that game was going to be cool, but then the Kickstarter came out and I was like, I'm not down with whatever it is that they're doing or the structure of it, or who knows what it'll lead to. But I think it'll be kind of cool to like look at it from both sides, timeline-wise. So hopefully that's beneficial to you. That's, again, I won't do this intro all the time. I'll definitely shorten it down, but I wanted to really explain this so that you guys knew kind of my thought process behind it. So without further ado, let's do part 2 of a 2-parter where there's only one part. Let's go ahead and dive into this one. Okay, so first things first, this isn't going to exactly match November, and that's just because I haven't done this before, so I'm kind of just doing the last couple, right? And so before, it'll be definitely like just whatever's needs to be covered will be there. So first off, Nova Aetus Renaissances by Ludus Magnus Studio, and as you can see, I backed it. I backed it at the early bird Renaissance pledge for the first 48 hours. First of all, I do always appreciate a 48-hour early bird if you're going to do one. Early birds are I debate on early birds if they're good or not. They're good because they save the people that are there money. They're bad because they don't help the people that come in late. And in fact, it's good to have that first swelling of support. It really is, because you unlock fast and it's super beneficial for the company. It really is for the whole Kickstarter. It sets the pace for the entire Kickstarter, unless you do something wonky. But there's still that like lull, and I feel anybody who's going in there during that lull is also helping out a lot, right? Because then it's really hard to get those stretch goals, especially without add-ons, and so they kind of help prevent spamming the add-ons to get those stretch goals unlocked, because everybody that's there needs to increase their pledge versus getting new people. So, I mean, I feel like conceptually, I don't want my money to count any more than somebody else's money. But at the same time, I understand the importance it is to the company, even if it's not as necessarily as important to us. That being said, my go-to scenario whenever I'm looking at any campaign is if it at all looks semi-interesting, like just this base part here. If this looks kind of cool and there's an early bird, click the button, click back, do the early bird. It doesn't matter. You're not being charged right away anyway, and you lock in that early bird. Then you can go ahead and, do the 48-hour up, kind of look at it at the end or look at it afterwards. So what I typically do, I'm like, oh, I've been looking forward to neo-morphosis Renaissance. Oh, this looks cool. And then I click the early bird and bam, I locked it in. Now I'm good to go. Then afterwards I come back, and sometimes I'll do that to a few because everybody launches on a Tuesday. It's just how these companies work at this point. I'll look through, and it actually took me a while to look fully into neo-morphosis Renaissance. It really did. But like I actually looked through, because I got to this picture, I'm like, yeah, back. But I really looked into it and saw what they were doing and how they're taking stuff. Like this was in Sign Tempore, but it was a little bit different, and just how they're kind of iterating on different mechanics and stuff like that. And I was looking into it, I was like, oh, okay, this looks cool. So then I look into it, and then I'm like, okay, I feel comfortable about that. And then you can also, again, do that 48-hour kind of notification where it's like, all right, so I backed it early, and now I get to see it in its final kind of form, right? Because a lot of times these campaigns slowly reveal themselves to us. While I think value should be there day one, there's definitely a lot more value 48 hours before closure, right? Because they've unlocked all these stretch goals, they've added all these add-ons, so you can kind of see the whole scope of the project. But definitely, it costs you nothing to get that early bird. Don't put it off. I've done it before, and I forget about it for 3 days, and I missed the early bird. It's just not worth it. It costs you nothing. Click it, and then if you don't like it, cancel it. It costs you nothing. And they won't even notice because it's early and people are going to be coming in. They're not going to notice the negative anyway. So you won't even feel bad. And you shouldn't anyway. You don't owe them nothing. But even if you felt like you would feel bad, they won't even notice you leaving. So click that early bird, and then if you want to, lock it in. Otherwise not. I have not added anything to this. The pledge manager isn't out yet. What I'll probably do, what I think I'll do, this is maybe a bit of a projection, but they have several expansions, and I don't know if I'll get them all. Now, I will be getting this game still. It was sent to me and returned for whatever reason. They had the right address, so I'm not sure exactly what happened there. Unfortunate, because I wanted to share it with you guys before the closure. But either way, I will kind of have a good idea if I'll really like this game or not, if it'll hit my table a lot. I do love this. I love the... it's just so much cheaper on their part just to make 4 or 5 hero boards instead of each and every single one. And then you can really do the whole alternate, like level up stuff or whatever you want to do with that. I think it's a cool idea. The 3D elements, obviously I'm down with that. All the RPG elements are cool. The going on hunts are cool. Gives me kind of a Final Fantasy Tactics vibe is cool. As far as, expansions go, I will definitely get, I believe it is Under Siege is the kind of the main like gameplay one. Catacombs adds a dungeon crawl aspect to it, and I probably won't get that just because I've had bad experiences before, like with Massive Darkness, with these like tacked on modes at the end that, like, if the game wasn't designed around that, then that kind of sucks. And in fact, even like player counts, like if it wasn't designed really well with solo in mind, solo can kind of suck. Right? Or if it wasn't really designed for a campaign, but they added the campaign normally just kind of sucks. And it's not even so much that maybe it's bad, but it's just not, it's not what's been years in development, right? And maybe they have it, maybe it's great, in which case I hope to get it at retail or the next time this is around, but I probably won't be grabbing that. This one, I'm debating. It's a cool mini. I don't know if I want to spend $50 on it just because it does only come with 2 missions, and I'm all about gameplay, and you'll kind of see that a little bit here as well. So this Under Siege, 10 mission envelopes. Okay, so this is coming with a kind of a big, hefty kind of campaign with it, right? And then you get this Vesuvio, right? And it also has 10 missions. So it's like maybe, in fact, it's a little bit cheaper too. So both of these might be kind of nice. I think I like the minis in this one a little bit more, and it just comes with it's just a heftier one, right? But both of those are kind of good. And so the Minotaur, I don't know, because again, it just comes with, 2 adventure cards. You might just kind of be able to go with them. I never buy dice. I just don't. Typically, they're the cheapest they get is $1 a piece, and I don't know. I'd rather spend that money on more gameplay than dice if I can normally help it. So especially when it's like 8 each, like I'm not spending that much. So yeah, I'll probably get Under Siege. I might get Under Siege and Vesuvio. I probably will not get Catacombs, and I might get Hyperion. I don't play Black Rose Wars at all anymore, and maybe Wave 2 will change that. I don't know. But for now, that isn't necessarily interesting to me to be able to plop him in a game that doesn't really hit the table too often. Probably won't get the art book, mainly because it's just art and not lore. If it has art and lore, I am so always tempted to get it. Just art, I can resist pretty easily. So that's kind of where I'm at now with this one, and I guess kind of why. They do have some good like bundles, which is really nice. And so if you look at here though, like if I do get these two, this is still under $100, so it's not worth it to spend another 100 to get, stuff I need. Now, is it worth $50 to get the Catacombs plus the Minotaur? I mean, yeah. If it came with Hyperion as well, then perhaps. But otherwise, I probably won't. I can put that $50 towards another pledge for another game, because there are plenty. So moving on that note, Darkest Dungeon, I did back again at the 150 mark on here, the Crimson Pledge. I did not go all in, though I very well might, but this comes with the Crimson Court, comes with the Musketeer Mini, comes with the core box, and all of the stretch goals, which are great. So because there's a lot of them. I really like the video game. I really like the theme of it. I'm all about the kind of dark and gothic and, all this kind of stuff that I really like the art style and the feel of the game. I really actually like what they did with the board game. I talked about this in my details, but the maps and splitting up the party and having them, try and like meeting them. Just, there's a lot of systems in there that I think work really, really well as just a plain board game, even without the IP. But then you add kind of the, position and, that locks or unlocks your moves and what you can do. And I think it just looks like a well done thing. Now, is it maybe a little heavy? Yeah, that's fine. I mean, again, people play Kingdom Death Monster, and it's way lighter than Kingdom Death Monster. So it just depends, I guess, on how much you're okay with tokens. But I'm fine with tokens. I play board games. I'm not playing a video game here. So moving on from that, I'm not going to really go too far into that. There's a ton of stuff. 400 plus cards. Like, it's a ton for $100, not even 120. A lot of these campaigns, they do the 120 because it's like the norm, we accept it. They didn't jump on the 120, just $100 for like all of it. Like, it's an insane amount for $100. It's crazy. And then you get the 150 for the Crimson Court, and then you get all of this. And like, look at this freaking thing. Ugh. Anyway, gross nastiness. That statue's bleeding out of its eyes. Why not? And again, a ton of stretch goals. Okay, so add-ons. I will, again, love the design, right? And anything that just kind of adds more stuff is cool, right? There is one thing I'm not super excited about, and I'll kind of talk about that a little bit. The waves of enemies, the standalone kind of, see, I like the miniatures in this probably the most. I'm not a fan of wave-based games. It's just not my cup of tea, I guess. But, whatever. Okay, the whale, pretty much anything that adds, like, other areas, I'm all about. So this whole new location, I'm all about. See how this has one-off experience, new enemy faction, level up during and fight 3 bosses. I mean, all this is cool. Might get it, might not. $50. Well, we'll see. Because again, I'm not made of money here. The wheel, though, with unlocking the heroes inside of these areas, I'm not a huge fan of. That being said, I like both the Shieldbreaker and Houndmaster. I main those a lot in some of my more elite groups. I love the Houndmaster because he can just snipe that back row like nobody's business, and he can mark to Kingdom Come, which is great. I like the Shieldbreaker a lot, mainly because she has a very good like transfer, so she can like do a good attack, and then that moves her back, and then do a good attack on like everybody as she moves forward. So you just kind of swap her with a tank guy or something like that. And then you just have like in the 3rd slot or even 4th slot, you got the Houndmaster there. It's a great combo in the video game. So 2 of my favorite. That and the Shield Breaker, I think, is uniquely kind of designed and colored, because she's, just kind of from a unique setting. And then, of course, there's a dog with the Houndmaster. So, I mean, there's that. Minis here, again, look kind of cool. They're definitely doing stuff that you don't normally see. Like, you don't normally see just a cannon. They have a cannon. You don't normally see just like this ugly person drinking soup, but here you go, you got that. So they have these like unique things that are kind of standing out in the Wield. So I think that's a really good expansion there. And again, for the same price as this kind of like side thing, which again, I struggle with those kind of side, hey, play the game this different way. This is hands down, I'll get this more, especially for the heroes. Again, it sucks because I do really like, I don't like adding the heroes in here. To me, this is the FOMO for me, is the heroes. Adding the heroes in these different ones, especially 2 of them, kind of rough. That being said, I do not like the leper at all. I never use the leper. Don't like them. It's just not my play style. The Antiquarium, they're all right. It's fine. It's whatever. But again, they got like the freaking like screaming pigs and this amazing guy here. And again, it is a new location, and any new location, changing things up, adding different map tiles, all the different unique enemies. I'll probably end up adding that too. And so you can see this now, I'm already at 250, right? And so it's like, this is adding up more, and it just keeps going, right? So then you have the Cove. Again, new location, plus 2 new heroes, I'm done. The Flagellant, again, not my style. Man-at-Arms, love them. Great mini. And, great character. And again, very unique setting here. Not necessarily a standout one like this guy, but fish people are always cool. Definitely a different feel to it with the kind of the blue hue and the underwater theme. This stands out actually more than this one, I feel. The Cove is just kind of a more unique experience with the underwater creatures kind of stuff. And they have like the cool Guardian guys here that tend to guard, at least in the video game. I haven't played it in the board game, but I'm sure they do it there as well. Just kind of a cool feel. And again, another $50. So that's 50, 50, 50. That's 150 more. I am now at $300, and the Ancestral Pledge is 330. So that pretty much means I'm probably just getting this, because the only other thing that this is getting me that the other one doesn't. Yeah, so essentially I'm getting like the Warrens here. So this, I mean, it just kind of makes sense. Right? Like why? In fact, I don't know why it says savings of 40. Maybe I'm doing the math wrong here. This is what I get for not doing the Pledge Manager yet. But yeah, because there's plenty here, right? There's the Color of Madness, right? Which this comes with, and mine does not, right? Mine only comes with the Crimson Court. So that's 50, 50. That's 100, 150, 200, and then that's it. So 200 plus 150 is, okay, so it's a 350. This is a 330. So what else does it come with? I don't know. Anyway, I'll have to figure that out. I'm not getting an extra, whatever. I'm already getting the Crimson Court, so that just kind of came with it. Why not? And then just, yeah, there's nothing. So that's pretty much where I am. This is probably going to be my biggest pledge. I think I'll go higher on this than I will on Nova Aetus Renaissance. Just, again, the theme speaks to me a lot. But right now, I'm at it for 150 and giving into FOMO probably a little bit. Next up, Neo-morphosis Infestation. I backed this the first time it came out. I backed it again this time. I backed it at the hatchery. I actually, and this is kind of, so I had it at the early bird hatchery, and then I upgraded to the colony pledge. No, I think the hive. I went to the hive pledge, right, to get the 3rd instar for kind of cheaper, and ended up dropping it down to hatchery just because I had too much going on, because it was like Nova Aetus Renaissance, it was Darkest Dungeons, Neo-morphosis, and a few others going on at the same time. Bardsong was coming out. I just got a 3D printer and was spending money in that like crazy, and I just couldn't. So I had to drop back down. That being said, my pledge backer should still give me the early bird, so in the pledge manager I should be fine. But because again, early bird, you click that early bird, figure it out later. Why I like this game. So a lot of people say it looks like Deep Madness. I say Cool. I mean, Deep Madness, I think it looks cool. I have no problem with that. I have several different fantasy games. It's not like Descent looks super unique as a fantasy game. It's like I haven't seen goblins before or dragons before. I guess I'm not as hooked up in the whole the theme is shared the same. I don't just dismiss the game based because it has the same theme as another one. If it's a dark sci-fi Cthulhu, cool. How's the gameplay? Now that I care about gameplay, because I do, so let's talk about that. This is not really a dungeon crawl at all. I saw Dice Tower mention it was a dungeon crawl, but I think they just look at things very superficial, because if you actually know the game, you know that it doesn't play like a dungeon crawl at all. In fact, combat isn't even the main focus here. Instead, the main focus is this right here, this SIP board or system interface panel. What you're really doing is the aliens are attacking the ship or the station, the station that you're on Earth. And so you're just trying to handle that. And so these kind of issues come up as they're dealing with things, and you have to just figure out how to solve that before it becomes an emergency, and then it's locked in, and eventually you just lose because the station's just overrun. And you can do stuff like just cut off, all the air to a section. You lose the section, but you kill everybody in there, which is kind of nice too, unless there's a guy in there, in which case, oops. The idea of just managing this, which is really the focus of the game, right? And while piecemealing your stuff together and then kind of heading out and being okay, all right, let's go. I'm going to try and get to that panel over there and repair this thing so the door doesn't get ruined. And meanwhile, stuff's evolving. So I like the metamorphosis kind of side to it, where you're not wanting them to get too big. I like the idea that you can focus on a certain kind of enemy. You can decide that each turn. And then, of course, I like the fact that you're just kind of managing these issues that come up across the map as you kind of venture out and try to, fix everything that needs fixing. And the fact that none of you are super good, military people. I really like the idea of that. It just seems like a very unique game in the kind of body horror genre that I put in. I wouldn't want to put it as Cthulhu. I know I said that before, but it's just kind of sci-fi body horror. Yeah, I'm down. Let's go manage some terminals in that setting with some slapstick gear, and hopefully we win. It sounds like a mad dash to the end kind of game that I'm looking forward to. And I do kind of like Dark Gate games because I think Dark Rituals looks fantastic. Speaking of which, I did get the notification that I had to confirm my email with Quartermaster Logistics. That'll be coming up soon. Alright, moving on, we have Bard Sung. This shouldn't surprise you at all. I am backing right now at just the Hero Pledge, and that's probably where I'm going to stick, because again, it's the holidays, and I'm spending money on everything else, and there's a lot of pledge managers I need to fill out. I've been bothered to fill out some of these pledge managers for some. I still have to pay for shipping on, I think Twisted Fables is ready for shipping. I haven't paid for that. DEI wants me to finish its pledge manager. I haven't finished that. I think Novaetus Renaissance, if it's not there, it's close. It's just, I know there's a lot coming, and so I'm just sticking to these core pledges, and I fully support that. And if you don't have enough to go all in, you're oh, do I want the $50 to add that other? You have to, look at your collection and realize, how many games have I played where I played every single thing in the core box and then needed more? All right? Now, that's not to say that an expansion can't enhance the core box experience. So it can add variety. It can add, for instance, the Bard Sung, or not the Bard Sung, the Darkest Dungeon, right, where it adds the heroes. I might use one of those heroes in the core box. So even though I didn't play that content, I kind of did with that. So I'm not saying it can enhance that, and sometimes it's really, really helpful, especially for stuff that needs variety. But if push comes to shove and you have $200, it's much more bang for your buck to do a $100 core pledge plus stretch goals and a $100 core pledge plus stretch goals. That's two probably huge games versus one core box plus stretch goals and then two $50 expansions for that game, and then not getting that other game at all, if that makes sense. So I fully support the not going FOMO, not getting everything all in, and instead dividing all of the stuff, and then you have all these games. And then, again, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, and there's always a secondhand market and stuff you can go for, but and if you're like me, more games look interesting than you can possibly play or afford. And so I'm much happier doing this. And for instance, I got Conan, right? Plus the one expansion I thought looked the best, which was the Nordheim expansion, because I just liked the theme of it. I love Norse, and the giant guys looked super cool. And it had wolves. So all about that. I think that's cool. And so I had that, so just that. And then it turned out to be one of our favorite games. We constantly played it. We played through all of the scenarios. So I went and grabbed the other 2 expansions, the big box expansions. And then, of course, it was on Kickstarter again, so then I got all the other stuff I could have gotten secondhand as well. If you find out that you love a game and you've played it a ton, it's worth the money, you know you're going to play it and enjoy it, go ahead and grab it from wherever it is that you can. But certainly I don't think preemptively doing that, because you preemptively do that and you don't end up playing at all. And it really sucks knowing that you spent $250 more than you needed to. It just does. And so, and again, you can't beat the core pledge. The core pledge plus stretch goals is such a good deal. Almost always. It's insane how much they pump that up. And it's because they want to kind of make up a lot of that profit margin from the add-ons. Right? And of course, the profit margin has to be better on the add-ons because not everybody's going to add them. And so they just end up being more expensive. So Bardsung, right now I'm sticking to the Hero Pledge. I will probably be adding the 1 expansion. And that's another huge thing with Bardsung. So with Bardsung, the scope is unlike any dungeon crawl I've ever done. It's 2 boxes. It's the core box, and then you can also have 1 gameplay add-on, and that's all you need. You can get some extra stuff, whatever, but really $160 and you own all of the gameplay for Bardsung is a really good deal, I feel. It really is. So I'll probably end up actually jumping to this in the Pledge Manager because I do want, it does seem to be at a pretty good savings that I'm pretty happy with. And so I didn't get, it's just 1. It's not like it's a whole lot more. It's just not. If this is $100, this is $159. So I'm going to spend $50 more and have all the gameplay I need, plus all these stretch goals, all the extra scenarios, all the stuff. And I'm fine not getting extra dice or all that. Neoprene mat might be nice. I need to know if it's stitched. I only buy stitched neoprene mats. If they're not stitched, they're just not worth the money to me. They're already expensive. It's not that much more to stitch them, and they are just a lot nicer and more premium. They won't fray at the end and stuff like that. But the other stuff, I'm okay. I'm okay not getting. I might jump for the foreteller stuff, but I'll probably do that after the campaign. I probably won't prepay for it. And I also don't feel a strong need for like doors and stuff like that. I mean, they're nice, but for the most part, it's just going to be Hero Pledge and then probably the expansion. Okay, 2 more. Signum Workshop. Again, I've been 3D printing. That being said, you can get these resin. Their style is really, really unique, and it's great for printing because it's that a little tiny cartoony that just really, really works. But super unique design, like this like crazy stuff going on here. Or a guy with a two-handed weapon that's mounted. That's pretty unique. Whatever this guy is. This chick's pretty sweet. I love the freaking emo hair on the lion guy. They just have some cool stuff. I actually went ahead and printed one of them here. So you can kind of see her. So she is super cool. Really like her. She's like a gypsy lady. They're doing a painting contest that I'll be kind of trying to participate in. We'll see. I think it ends December 3rd. So she's a free model. You can print her out. She's at a little bit higher scale for this. She's normally like 32 millimeter or whatever. But wanted to paint her and have it look nice. Yeah, again, I think these just look cool. And again, they have all the resin. If you really want the fancy resin, which does look nice, I think she looks super cool. I did notice one thing. They love this pose. They love women with the left hand kind of bent and the right hand down at an angle. So you're going to see that a lot. For instance, you see this bent, left hand at an angle. Bent, left hand at an angle. And I think it's just going to happen chance with just these, but a lot of them are like that. So, hold on, we're going to scroll up a little bit more. Bent, now it's not quite as bent, but bent. See, you can see the bend right there at an angle. And they just tend to do that a whole lot. Bent at an angle. I noticed that. I was like, what the heck? I mean, even her is technically bent and at an angle, right? It's just something they tend to like to do. And I for whatever reason, I notice this crap and it annoys me, but I do. And so there you go. That's something that they like to do. Yeah, I know the prints print out well. So excited about that. I'm part of the Patreon as well. Maybe I'll do a video on the patrons that I'm Patreoning, the Patreons that I'm patroning. For 3D prints, because there's a lot of them. They're pretty good. They showed some busts, by the way, that are amazing. Okay, and last but not least is the Death Goddess Izanami. Right now I am at just $1, and the reason that is because I will be adding a lot more in the Pledge Manager. So I will be getting her a little early to show you guys. So that's kind of full transparency right there. That being said, it was after my video that was even necessarily determined, and it wasn't even my idea. They're just like, hey, we'll send this to you early so you can show it off. They did an update, by the way, that showed this off, and I thought this was huge. I never even noticed it, even scrolling down. This kind of attention to detail is so cool. The fact that, and like, it's like front and center. Like, if you look here, it's right there. Right? But you're focused and you're looking everywhere and you're seeing all this, and like, she has her own story. She's the second sacrifice and she's all sad, but the whole holding the hands and the head resting on the shoulder thing is just such a cool, addition to it. That I thought was really cool. But I'll probably be adding this guy, and I'll probably be adding some busts. I'll be spending too much money on this. It's just super cool. I'm glad they're doing busts. I love busts. I kind of wish a little bit that there was maybe a different pose of some kind. Just so it was a little bit different, because if I'm going to paint her, I've already painted her. Now I have to paint her again at the bust is large. It's still nice, but it'd be kind of cool to be a little bit different. But I still think they look great. And then they also did like some STLs that you can even add on, like her. So I'll be adding her as an STL so I can print her off. Most definitely. So either way, super cool stuff. I love the whole pulling back, by the way, the back side. You don't normally see that. I've talked about this miniature quite a bit, but that's kind of where I'm at now. I'll be adding a lot of the Pledge Manager for this one. Is kind of my assumption here. Okay, so that's it. That's what I've backed. Let me know where we line up. I would love to know kind of how in line I am with you guys, and if you agree or disagree with anything I said. I'm all for a discussion, or if nothing else, just to hear what you have to say. And so again, end of the week, I will be talking about December, and then that following Tuesday, I'm going to have a video that's the opposite of this, where I'll be talking about what I project I'll be doing in December. And then again, we kind of line up on that. And the rest of December is some craziness when it comes to top 10 lists and looking back at the year and looking to the next year and all that kind of good end of year stuff that's just a little bit different on this channel, but something I really enjoy doing. So with that out of the way, thanks so much for watching. As always, I really, really appreciate you guys all the time. If you are in the US and you're having Thanksgiving, be safe with your family, enjoy them, enjoy the wonderful food, and just celebrate the awesome family and friends that we kind of live around. I think it's a great time to do that, even if you're not in the US. So thanks so much. Thank you. And I'll talk to you guys again real soon.